Hey everyone, Jay Cottrell here, and it's time for another, finally, edition of Real Estate Talk with Jay. So sorry it's been a few weeks. It is summer, which means a few things. Kids are out of school, summer camps, vacations, and buyers come out of the woodwork wanting to view properties all the time. So these videos are probably going to be fairly sporadic throughout the rest of the summer because this has been an extra busy summer for me so far, which is a good thing, but also it's going to maybe jive with some of the statistics that we're going to go over today. So I do want to give you a little preview of the month-end statistics for May, but then go ahead and give you the current past week statistics. But in those graphics, you'll be able to see what the last 2 weeks of statistics have been, since I really haven't shown you those, but you'll at least be able to see those. All right, what do you say we go ahead and get started? All right, well, let's go ahead and start at the beginning, shall we? Let's go ahead and look at last month's numbers because May is getting us almost halfway through the year, which will be able to give us a picture of sort of maybe where the year is going to end up. But so far, for the month of May, active listings were up, pending listings were up, sold listings were up, but the sale price remained flat. And you'll see that in some of these weekly numbers too. So does that mean that we might see a decline in sales prices before the end of the year? The answer is maybe, or we might see a continued flattening. But again, to give you an idea, we started out the year double digits higher sales prices over last year. So even if we end up in the negative, we're still netting higher than the last several years, especially the two what I call unicorn years of craziness, 21 and 22, which throughout COVID. So let's go ahead and take a look at the weekly numbers. So new listings were up past week. We had 224 new homes enter the market for sale over the past week. We had 242 homes go under contract, which is just about the same as it has been. The pace has been fairly steady the last several weeks. Number of active listings is sitting at just under 1,100, which is up, but only slightly. We're just now kind of getting up to where we began the year with active listings. Number of closed listings was 198, which was significantly up from the previous weeks. But again, that was the month end. So we always see a ton of extra closings at the end of every month, just because that just seems to line up with when people need to close on homes. As far as the sales price, we have seen the sales price go down over the last few weeks. It's at $235, and that is a slight down. I mean, it's not a huge decrease, maybe a percentage point or two, but really what's going to tell us what happens over the next several months. Because to be honest with you, I put out an article in social media earlier, and if you haven't seen it, I'll link to it here in the description. But basically, there is so much pent-up demand and such a short supply of inventory. Nationwide, we are short 6.5 million homes. And just anecdotally, I know of people that are buying RVs and staying in RV parks, or families that are moving in with their parents and grandparents because they can't find anything to buy, or they can't find anything in their price range, or they've lost out on so many bidding wars that they just kind of have given up for the while. And so every time you see what I've seen lately is if we see a little bit of buildup of inventory, it gets followed by an increase in sales as buyers gobble up that inventory. As we see a small dip in mortgage rates, we see buyers gobble up more homes as they try to take advantage of the slightly lower mortgage rate. So there is just such a short supply of homes and such a huge demand that any little change that brings more buyers is affecting the prices and keeping the prices high for the foreseeable future. So if we look at those prices again, the sales price was just a small decrease at $235,000. The median list price has remained fairly steady over the week. So we're not seeing a trend in continuing increasing of list prices trying to push the market up. That was at 341,000 and some change. Now let's take a look at price reductions because I think you'll see there's not a huge amount of price reductions that are happening that you would think are happening. Usually these are homes that have been on the market for a while, or maybe they've had one contract fall through, they're back on the market, so they dropped the price to try to get more buyer interest. I will see, just anecdotally, I haven't looked at the data, but it does feel like we're seeing more home sales fall through, and kind of on some weird stuff, but I won't go into that. Nothing major, but just I think buyers have a certain opinion of what a home's supposed to be, especially maybe a 30 or 40-year-old home, and not really realizing that it's a 30 or 40-year-old home. There's going to be just regular things that come with that. But anyways, so look at price reductions. So 23% of the homes that sold last week sold at a reduced price. Of the current inventory for sale, 38% of the homes listed for sale are listed at a reduced price from their original list price. So that's actually a smaller, slight reduction in percentages from the previous weeks that I've shown you. As far as what is that median price reduction that's happening, it's right around 5%, which is also less than we've seen in previous weeks. And the sold to list ratio is at 98.9%, which is also slightly higher than previous weeks. So I think what that's telling you is buyer demand is coming back, and because of the increased competition, especially in certain price ranges, buyers are getting more competitive and paying pretty much what people are asking for the most part. Not always. There are still people getting reductions. I've gotten some reductions for some buyer clients here recently as well. And anytime that happens, that just feels like a major win right now. But if you look at it, it's also very city dependent in our market as well. Certain cities are not necessarily selling for below list price as much as other areas or counties are. So it's all kind of playing together right now in an interesting way. So that's it for the data this week. I hope you continue to find this information interesting. I am going to be putting out a video, maybe with Josh, maybe not. Just like, again, summer schedules and vacations just make it hard. I may just do a shorter video, just kind of explaining to you a little bit better the year-to-date numbers so far to let you know where our local market is. But be on the lookout for that. I'm going to try to get it this week, but it may not come out until next week. So again, I'm Jay Cottrell, real estate agent with Tri-Cities here locally, and that's it for this week. We'll see you next week.